Hey, this is Drew, aka the Skill Sonographer, and I'm going to be going over ultrasound machine fundamentals for knobology part 2. We're going to include color box steering and pulse wave angles as well in this video. So I hope you guys enjoy it. The first feature we will discuss is the trackball. The trackball is super useful for sonographers. If you do not have to have the perfect still image before you hit freeze and save every single time. No, that's what the trackball is for. The ultrasound machine keeps a recording of the past several seconds of your imaging, your real-time imaging, so once you hit freeze, you can scroll back and get that still image. Next, we're going to go over the bandwidth of different transducers. So you might have, for example, the 9 megahertz transducer. That's not the only frequency that transducer can operate at. As you can see here, this one also has 8.4 megahertz. So if you want to image something slightly deeper, then you can lower the frequency. Now we have let's check out the curvilinear transducer, the C16. 6 megahertz is not the only frequency at which this transducer can work. So you can lower the frequency of this transducer, especially if you're working on a larger patient and you need better penetration. If you're trying to see the dome of the liver, you can lower that frequency all the way down to 2.5 megahertz. Now, if you are imaging a smaller patient or a more superficial abdominal structure, then you can keep that frequency up at 6 megahertz. Now, let's say you're performing a scrotal exam with the M615 linear transducer. That transducer can go all the way down to 9 megahertz. So if you need slightly better penetration, you can do that with that same transducer. Now let's talk about this color box steering. This is what I don't want to see. You see how the lines of the color box and the vessel, when they connect, it makes almost a 90-degree angle? We don't need that. Now the lines of the color box and the vessel walls, they make more of an angle when they meet up. Do you see this corner of the color box where when you drag your finger down away from the color box, it doesn't meet up with it again? That is what I call the leading corner. Now, the vessel, the end of your vessel that is more anterior, that is closer to the transducer, that should be on the same side as that leading corner, not the end that's farther away from the transducer. Now, here's another example. It is better if you can put an angle on the color box if the vessel is at an angle. And just remember, the more anterior end of the vessel should be aligned with the leading corner of the color box. Now, there are some cases where having a straight color box is beneficial. For example, when you're scanning in transverse, when you're imaging some vessels in transverse, you can use that. Now, what I'm also showing you is color gain. You can increase and decrease your color gain. You want to show where the color flow meets the vessel walls but doesn't extend past the vessel walls. Now, when you use pulse wave Doppler, you always want to make sure your angle correct is parallel to the vessel walls, as you see here. This is what you do want to see. At times, with a vessel that is diving deeply, you will have to change your angle correct, but if you do have to change it, you want to keep it between 45 and a 60-degree angle. Don't go above, don't go below. As you saw earlier, the machine even made the anything over 60, it made it red. So you don't want to do that. That is best for the Doppler shift. That is explained in my course, the Circulatory Skillset and the SPI Simplified. Now let's talk about power Doppler. Now this is color Doppler that is completely unrelated to the direction of the color flow. So as you can see here, the internal jugular vein and the carotid artery are both showing up the same exact color. Now let's talk about M mode. This is often used for ultrasounds of the heart. What you are looking for are any lines that appear wavy along the spectral waveform. Now, any straight lines, those are covering structures that are not moving. The wavy line is indicative of a moving structure. So you would use that to get the measurement that you need. Now we are only going to cover a couple more features of the ultrasound machine. Another common feature that you will use is measurements, using the measurement knob. Now that allows you to be able to measure the length, width, height, or whatever structure you are visualizing, also to obtain velocities, measure velocities. So whenever you are ready to measure the structure, you just click measure, and you usually will use one of those buttons that are next to the trackball to place the first caliper, and then you'll place the other caliper wherever you need it. The last ultrasound machine feature is virtual convex imaging. When scanning with a linear transducer, this produces a trapezoid-shaped image instead of a rectangular-shaped image. This is sometimes something you can forget about, but is very useful if you are imaging a structure that is very long or very wide. You can make sure that you fit it all into one image using this feature. For example, with imaging the thyroid in long, this can help to make sure that you are getting accurate imaging, accurate measurements. So when I measure the thyroid in long, I'm able to make sure that the organ is not being cut off. When you need two separate measurements, you simply click measure, click one of the tabs and then the other tab for the caliper, and then hit measure again. Hit one of those tabs next to the trackball and do the same thing. And when you go back to look at those measurements, just make sure you can decipher which one is your actual length and which one might be your anterior measurement, anterior to posterior measurement. That's it for today. Catch you in the next video.